Imagine getting pushback from a dude who's fucking baked and just immediately malfunctioning at the slightest sign of any kind of resistance to your talking points. That's amazing. Okay, Joe and Matt Walsh disagree over gay marriage. This is the Joe Rogan Experience. He brought on the lovely, critically acclaimed Matt Walsh, author of the ever-esteemed book Johnny the Walrus, a bestseller, New York Times bestseller, very scientifically driven with multiple sources, including but not limited to Daily Wire, etc. Let's take a look. Now, Joe Rogan, kind of cringe. Joe Rogan's kind of cringe, right? We can agree he's kind of cringe, but he has a history of like just being a meathead, like a centrist meathead. Like that's his visual, right? That's the visual that he puts out. Besides like the interesting double thunderbolt, which I never noticed, a lightning bolt. That's an interesting choice. Has that always been there? That's, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. But I guess he's definitely gone down the conservative pipeline a little bit. And bringing Matt Walsh on is like the most far right that you can pretty much get, right? There's very few people in the mainstream that are farther right than Matt Walsh. And yet, even knowing that Joe Rogan tends to agree with everyone he brings on everything, it seems that he recognizes that gay marriage is a cool and pog thing. I have not watched this yet, but we'll see what he has to say.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
I think of marriage is a certain thing, which is
It is definitely a certain thing. He's not wrong.
The context for procreation, for the building.
It's always been there. Okay.
Family. What about people that get married that don't have kids? Are you opposed?
I'm just
to
a
that?
triggered libtard then.
What if they get married? They decide, you know what? We don't need kids. I'm gonna get fixed.
You know what it is? He's fucking baked, dude. That's what it is. He's baked. When he gets stoned, he taps into his inner brain. He unlocks the past Joe Rogan, where he forgets himself. He forgets that he's supposed to be a pundit for the far right, and he goes back to just being some weirdo meathead, right? Rogan's always baked. Okay, fair enough.
Your tube's tied. Let's travel the world.
Well, what do you mean? Am I opposed to it? I mean, I think that every married couple should be open to life.
But what if they don't want to? Are you opposed to them being married? If marriage is only for procreation and to bond a family,
it's a great
together,
question.
What about people that are deeply in love that never want to have children?
I don't think it's not only procreation, but that is one of the fundamental definitional.
I don't think Matt Walsh thought that he would get challenged by Joe Rogan. It's kind of funny.
Aspects of it. Of course, there's more to marriage just than that.
And what about people that are infertile? They fall in love and they realize that they can have babies. And they don't really necessarily want to.
Why do you have Dems win the Senate in all caps? You're saying it like it's a good thing. Oh, it's such a good thing, dude. It's such a good fucking thing. I'm literally coming over it.
Adopt. Is that okay for them to be married? Because then you're, by definition, marriage falls into a completely different thing. Because then it's a bond of love. It's a union of love.
Sure. I mean, that doesn't change the nature of marriage, though. It's a little bit like...
kind of smell. What the... like a baka.
That's pretty true. You're literally Hassan. I'm worse, bitch.
I say that... what's the definition of a woman? Well, a woman is someone who by her nature can conceive children in her womb and bear children. And then the response is always, well, what about women who are infertile? Does that destroy your definition of woman? And it doesn't, because, you know, it's still a woman's
Wait. We're not talking about a fucking definition of woman. All he said was, what if you don't want to have kids? What do you mean, Matt?
nature to bear children. Not every woman will, and there will be disease and infertility and old age and all these things that will preclude that. But it's still of her nature to do so.
He's malfunctioning. He didn't think that he'd get any pushback from Joe Rogan. Imagine getting pushback from a dude who's fucking baked and just immediately malfunctioning at the slightest sign of any kind of resistance to your talking points. That's amazing. It doesn't get much worse than a son. I guarantee you, it gets much worse.
And I would say the same thing for marriage. I mean, it is natural in a marriage for procreation to occur. It's not always going to happen in reality, though. But that's still one of the natural functions of marriage. And
see, here's the thing: Hassan is straight, so he only fucks your mom. I fuck both of your parents while you watch.
Married couples who can't conceive children, there are other ways to be parents, like adoption, for example.
If they want to. Right. But if people want to be married and don't want to ever have children, are you opposed to them being married?
Well, I wouldn't advocate a law that would prevent it.
It's true,
But would it
Glazy.
change
It's
the
true.
definition of what their marriage is to you because they don't want to have a family? They just want to have a loving bond?
I think this would be a couple that is rejecting one of the fundamental aspects of marriage, and they should be open to life. I would hope that in the future they would be, but
Dude, he's
But
losing
isn't
them.
that just
He's
a
losing
personal
it.
choice? I mean, you can have a very fulfilling life if you just follow your pursuits and your dreams and your interests, and you find someone that shares those interests with you, and you share time together. It's very fulfilling and loving.
Yeah, it's a
I kind of like Joe Rogan when he's like this. It's nice.
It's a personal choice, in that I'm not advocating for like a law that says that you if you're married you have to have X number of kids.
But then why are you opposed to two gay people doing that?
Great question.
Because again, it's not about choice. It's about what this institution.
Oh, he was not expecting a debate, dude. This is great. Oh, this is great.
Marriage is an institution, and what is it, and what purpose does it serve? And I do not agree with tearing down or changing this definition, especially because the people who have changed the definition haven't come up with a new one. So they say, well, that's not what marriage is. So for thousands of years, we said marriage is the procreative union. And then we had the other side who came along and said, well, it's not that. Okay, well then, like, what is it exactly?
Let me get something straight. Marriage is like, if gender is a social construct, marriage for sure is a fucking social construct. It's just that we happen to have it written into law that you get like tax breaks and shit. That's the only thing. If we got rid of marriage as a concept, I would not give two shits and a fuck, okay? So let's get that straight. But if you're going to define marriage, like, you have to have a finite definition of it. Why are you okay? This is a great question. Why are you okay? Why is it a valid marriage for a man and a woman to get married and not have kids, but it's not a valid marriage for two gay men to get married and not have kids or have kids? What if man and a woman get married and one's infertile, just like Joe asked? What if a man and a woman get married and adopt a kid, just like Joe asked? Like, I don't understand, Matt Walsh. You're the definition guy. Pull up a fucking definition already. Pull it out of your ass. Come on. I know it's stuck up there. All right. Like, come on. Goddamn.
And I know you said, well,
fecal
it's
impaction of ideas.
Well, but then why two people? Why do they have to love each other? All these kinds of questions. You get into what if they're in the same family? What if
please bring up the Bible?
And I know every time that comes up, the advocates for gay marriage will say, well, that's a slippery slope argument. That's a fallacious, but it's actually not. It's like we're trying to get to what do you even think this institution is now?
Fake.
Since you've rejected out what we were saying
made it up.
And I've never found a compelling definition. And any definition offered, it's
me neither.
Like, well,
you know what? Based. Me neither. Get rid of it.
What's even the point then? Why do we even need this now?
I just don't see how
Based.
a gay marriage in any way damages a straight marriage. I don't see it at all. It doesn't make any sense to me. It just seems to me that people want to be look, if you wanted to look at logic, especially in our modern society, which is pretty fucked when it comes to relationships, it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 50% of all marriages end in divorce anyway. They don't make it.
Yep.
I don't know if anything would
What's up with that,
damage
Matt?
marriage and damage.
Don't gay marriages have a higher rate of success statistically? Let's look that up. I'm curious now. Just curious, Andy over here. The lesbian divorce rate is much higher than the divorce rate between men. Ooh, the women taking a fucking L, dude. Get wrecked. In the same period, on average, 100 women and 45 men divorced per year. Lesbian divorce rate is 14%. Gay male divorce rate 7%. Get fucking wrecked, you femoids. Get wrecked. But anyway, 14% and 7%. Once again, I must stress, the overall divorce rate is about 50% for the entirety of America, okay? The entirety of fucking America. That's an insane number. I thought it'd be like 20 or 30%. It's even lower than I thought, okay? Gay men stay winning. Lesbians stay second place. Cope.
The institution of marriage is the option of divorce. I don't think gay people and gay people getting married in any way, shape, or form changes a bond that you have with your wife. It's just called marriage. It's a human invented thing. If we
Why is that? Because being gay is objectively better.
decide that gay people can get married too, I just don't see how it damages anything. I don't think it tears down the definition of marriage in any way. It just opens up the possibility that people who are gay won't be discriminated against.
Yeah, I don't think that a gay couple existing directly impacts. There's a gay couple and wherever, and I'm with my wife in our house. Like obviously, there's not. But I'm not talking about on the individual level. I'm talking about on the societal level.
Right.
I would agree that.
Dude, he's trying so hard not to disagree with Joe Rogan. He's so unprincipled. Do you know what it is? He tries in his own space and with his own audience. He has the fucking mic. He has the power, right? But he's on Joe Rogan's stand now. He's in Rogan's house. Okay. Welcome to my house, bitch. Now you play by Joe Rogan's rules. Look at how much he flounders when he's forced to play by somebody else's rules. He knows Joe Rogan's platform is insanely big. Insanely big. Bigger than he could ever hope to be. Okay? Like just big. He's a big boy. All right? Not physically, but platform-wise. Is that known pedophile Matt Walsh? Many people are saying this is known pedophile Matt Walsh, yes. And he's currently getting bitch slapped on Joe Rogan. It's pretty fun. So it's just funny. It's very funny to watch him like sit here and twiddle his thumbs like a little schoolboy who got told that he didn't do his homework last night. It's great.
Divorce, especially, this no-fault divorce, rampant divorce. I don't think it's as high as 50%. I know that's often quoted. I'm not sure where that comes from, but it is.
Let's test that. You know what? Fair enough. Let's test that. Heterosexual marriage divorce rate. Divorce statistics and facts. About 1% of married same-sex couples get divorced each year, while about 2% of married straight couples divorce. This is WF Lawyers. This is from the UK. Gay divorce and straight divorce. Many studies have been done to try to figure out what's causing lesbian couples to have a 34% divorce rate. Now I'm getting answers all over the place. Let's just take it from one source. One source. United States divorce rates. Massachusetts, the first U.S. state to allow same-sex marriage, does not track how many of divorce rates in the state are between same-sex couples. I just want an overall percentage. On average, 1.1% of all same-sex couples are said to divorce each year, ranging from 0 to 1.8% in various jurisdictions. Same-sex couples in this category divorced at a rate of 43% on the study, as opposed to 8% for heterosexual couples with children. Wait, is that real? Some studies have shown that lesbian committed relationships do not last as long. Wikipedia doesn't count? Okay, well, we can try a different source. I'm trying to find a good source. I don't know. I'm getting different answers from all over the place. Marriage and divorce rates. Marriages and divorces. Men entering same-sex marriage. Women entering same-sex marriage. So right now, it's like 7% up here for women, and then 2% down here for men. That's from 2011, though. See, I don't know. I don't know what to trust now. Same-sex splits. In the U.S., there's about a 2% chance a heterosexual marriage will end in divorce in any given year. Yeah, but that's not the total sum. Divorce is a messy thing. You're not likely to find useful stats very quickly. Wikipedia isn't what it used to be. Its editors are more likely than not actual experts. That's true. I don't know. Hold on. Since 2015, same-sex marriages have been legally recognized in all 50 states. Same-sex marriages were legalized. Divorce rates. However, roughly 66% of same-sex couples are lesbian, and they are twice as likely to file for divorce. Okay, I thought that was going to say 66% divorce rate. I'm like, what the fuck? I can't find anything. What the fuck? Almost 50% of all marriage in the U.S. will end in divorce or separation. Researchers estimate that 41% of all first marriages end in divorce. Does it have anything on homosexual couples? Homosexual couples. Divorce rate by occupation. That would be interesting to look at. Same-sex divorce rates here. About 1% of married same-sex couples get divorced each year, while about 2% of married straight couples divorce. So even just right here per year, you're looking at 1% for homosexual, 2% for heterosexual. Lesbian couples are nearly twice as likely to end a marriage or civil union than gay male couples are. That's pretty consistent. In the United States, the divorce rate is 3.1 per 1,000 people that allow same-sex marriage, 3.9 in states that prohibit it. Isn't that interesting? It's higher in states that prohibit it. The average length of a marriage that ends in divorce is 8 years. If you just go with this, I don't know. I'm comfortable with putting it around 50%. That's the best I can find. 2% for straight couples every year, 1% for gay couples. And then total, it's like 50% for straight couples, about 14% for lesbian couples, 7% for gay couples. That's what we're going with.
It's high. It's like, it's too high. And
Chris Rock has a great joke about that. He said those are just the people with the courage to get
That's
out.
true Airbnb,
Like,
and I don't like
cowards
that.
Stay.
Airbnb.
It's also true that the advocates for what
Look
we call
at you, Airbnb abortion, out here doing the work, out here doing the good work that your name implies you do.
a traditional marriage, which I just call marriage. But the advocates for traditional marriage put themselves at a disadvantage.
Yep, shotgun weddings.
Especially in the church,
Shotgun.
allowing this rampant divorce to occur. And then you've already sort of given up on some marriage is supposed to be monogamous and permanent, as well as procreative. Well, you've given up monogamy and permanence, and so now it's not. That's two of the three legs gone, and so now this assault was waged on the procreative part of it, and it was difficult to withstand it because
What assault was waged on the procreate? You know what? Matt's right. There was an assault waged on the procreative part of it, but it wasn't by liberals and woke SJWs. It's because we literally cannot have children without going into crippling debt. We can't feed them. We can't clothe them. We can't house them. We can barely do that shit for ourselves. We're fucking millennials and Gen Z. What the fuck are you talking about having kids? They'd be fucked. So if anybody's waging war on procreation, it's the fucking conservatives.
the institution had already been weakened. So I agree with you there. But my answer to that is to try to reinforce what marriage is, not to just give up on it entirely. And I still think you're left with this question of, like, if marriage is not what I'm saying it is, then why do we even need it? What's the point? I mean, you're saying it's a man-made institution.
Yes.
But you're also, like, the way that you're...
God, it's no wonder he doesn't debate anybody. Joe Rogan's not even pushing back very hard. This is the equivalent of lightly blowing on something. And then you're just like a straw, like you're just made of, like you're the straw house, right? The Three Little Piggies, except it's like not even a full house. It's like the workings of a house, and like the lightest breeze brushes it over. Like just no solid structure whatsoever. A limp noodle. Rogan's literally just active listening, and Walsh is shitting his pants. That's why he doesn't go to therapy either. He feels too threatened by the questions.
Presenting it, it's a totally meaningless institution. So
No.
they don't need it at all.
No, it's not meaningless. It's because it means something to the people that get married.
So it's just a subjective symbolic.
The therapist is like, how does that make you feel, Matt? Matt's like, dude, whoa, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? What is that? What is that? A challenge? Is it?
Thing. I mean, what?
Yeah.
So if you're
Kind of what it is. Look, there's a massive responsibility when you're married and when you have children to keep your family together and you raise and keep everybody happy and healthy.
I
There's
cannot
great
believe-
reward to that.
yeah.
But it doesn't always work out. It's people.
Dude, he's giving him a fucking dad talk. That's great. Joe Rogan is literally daddying Matt Walsh right now. That's
change.
fucking fantastic.
People are fucked up. It doesn't always work. And so I don't think it should be outlawed because 50% of the people fall apart. Just like I don't think it has any effect whatsoever on a straight couple if a gay couple decides that they want to make it official. And that's what it is to them. It gives them a feeling that they're accepted and appreciated and that they're not discriminated
so
against
good.
because they happen to be homosexual.
So, well, what you're articulating to me is the damage that's done by gay marriage to the institution of marriage.
But how is it done? How is that
Because-
in any way damaged straight people?
Because we are making the institution meaningless.
But it's not meaningless.
Well, but you
it's
just
very
said-
meaningful to the people that
But
have it.
subjective, symbolic,
Joe's
and it's
spitting.
about your own personal feelings.
Isn't it, though?
Well, no, I would say that it's not. It's
Well, if it's not subjective and it's not symbolic,
it codifies and protects and gives a name to a thing that actually.
His voice is literally shaking, dude. You can't make this up. His voice is stuttering. What is going on? Dude, that's insane. My man's been doing public speaking for like over a decade. What's wrong with you? My God, maybe Joe Rogan is like kind of an alpha. You know what I mean? I think Joe Rogan's got like that alpha wolf energy, and he's just like kind of imbibing that and being put in his place. And as hard as he might try, even without any effort whatsoever, Joe is able to just suppress him like the fucking beta that he is. It's great. Walsh was not expecting this, not at all. He thought that Joe would just fold and be like, oh yeah, I guess you're kind of right? Like, that kind of is what marriage is, huh? I never thought about it that way. No, fuck you, dude. Joe Rogan's stupid, but he ain't that stupid.
Actually exists, which are man woman couples creating babies,
but not always.
Right, but that's still the
he's
the nature
debate broing the fuck out of him.
But
Go,
what are the percentage
Joe.
of people today that are married?
Joe.
I bet it's pretty high amongst heterosexuals.
Probably.
Is there something wrong with that?
I think there is something wrong with that. I think there is something wrong with getting married and saying, oh, we're not gonna have any kids at all.
But why is there something wrong with that if someone's personal choice? Well, why is it wrong?
Well, it's very simple. Matt Walsh has a breeding kink. This is the problem. Conservative women have submission kinks that they project onto everybody else, and Matt Walsh and men like him have breeding kinks that they project onto everybody else, including underage women, underage girls, I should say, underage children, I should say. But I digress. So it's fantastic. You really don't get moments like this very much anymore, It's like when you come up with a theory in class and your favorite teacher says why it's wrong. Maybe. I'd still own that shit personally, but
two people are
I'm
like,
built different.
I am deeply committed to
Starlight.
work, and I don't want to sacrifice any of my career, and I don't want to ruin a kid because I'm constantly at the office.
That's true, Airbnb
but that's
abortion.
where I get deep satisfaction, and that's what I'm focused on. And the woman says, that's great because I don't want children either. I really am attached to my interests and my career and what I like to do. That's not damaging your relationship with your wife or your family. I certainly don't think of it as a threat to my marriage or my family.
Yeah, it is a personal choice.
Right, but shouldn't people be allowed to make those personal choices? Like, isn't that a fundamental aspect of what it means to be American, to have that freedom?
Well,
yes,
but
right
yes,
now we're not
Joe.
talking about what people are allowed to do. I'm not saying
we're talking about marriage, gay marriage.
My man is fucking
we were just
spitting.
discussing straight couples who choose
Straight
not
couples
to have kids.
choose. That's also a personal freedom issue,
Right.
isn't it?
Drag him.
And I'm not saying that straight couples should be legally required to have kids, but I if you're asking me,
He did. His hairline is literally receding in real time. That's great.
do I think it's the right choice to just?
That's why you
get
just
married
shave it
and choose
off.
Not to have kids ever. I do not think that that's the right choice. It's their choice, but people can make choices that are wrong. And you can disagree.
How is it wrong if they have a fulfilling and wonderful life together with that choice? If their thing is that they just want to have a bond between the two of them to just like take it to the next level, let everybody know like we are married. If I die, my money's going to go to Helen.
Amen.
And if Helen dies, I'm going to mourn her because she was my wife and now I'll be a widower. Like to some people, that distinction gives them peace and security and makes them feel better about the relationship, that they're both so committed that they've legally signed documents that say that they're bound by law and under the eyes of God or whatever you believe in.
God damn it. I don't want to like Joe anymore. Oh, he's making me like him again. Fuck, dude. I'm sure next week he'll be sucking Elon's dick or something. It's fine.
Yeah. They're able to make that choice, but I think you're still rejecting one of the purposes of marriage. And in the scenario that you just outlined, you're also deciding to live a really self-centered life. You're saying,
But what if you're not? What if your work is very charitable? What if it benefits humanity in a deep way? What if you spend a lot of time doing, healthcare work and social work, and you're deeply committed to your community?
Here's the problem. If it weren't Joe Rogan, Matt Walsh would not even give him a fucking word. Matt Walsh would absolutely pound him with just yelling and being angry. Kind of like he did on Dr. Phil. Remember when he got all like beat red and was just yelling at this NB who's like, I'm just here, man. I got no gender. What of it? Like, it was great. But that's what he would be doing in this circumstance. Like, if I were in Joe Rogan's place and I were debating Matt Walsh and I were not Joe Rogan, I were just me, Alec Gunter, he would absolutely be like trying to yell at me and trying to put me in my place. You know what I mean? But because it's Joe Rogan, he knows he can't do that. He'll look like a fucking dick. All right. He knows he can't. He thinks he can treat other people like shit, but he knows he can't do that to Joe Rogan. And he's right. He can't. Because then all of Joe Rogan's audience is lost to him, you know? So this is an L, Matt. This is an L point to bring up. Sorry, brother.
Not selfish at all. You're just dedicating your time to something other than
flew too
raising
close to
new
the sun
human
on that one,
beings.
buddy.
But
Yeah,
you're dedicating your life to enhancing other human beings that are around you.
And this is why, by the way, fascists are often not completely open about their ideals immediately. They still hold them. They still want to permeate them throughout society, but they have to stay undercover and do it slowly. You come out in the open like this and just speak out against something that's commonly accepted, that's colloquially accepted, like gay marriage, on an enormous platform, mind you. And then your opponent is Joe Rogan, some meathead for all his flaws, who still thinks that gay marriage is cool and pog. You're losing. You're losing. You have to do this more eloquently. You know, you got to be more quiet about it. You got to be more insidious about it. Well, I don't have anything wrong with gay marriage. I'm just saying, don't you think that maybe it's a little more unhealthy or a little bit more unnatural? Like, why don't we just do civil union? Like shit like that. Like what the arguments they make in like 2010, right? Matt Walsh is all the way back in like 1980. All right, catch up.
It's a hypothetical.
It is a hypothetical, but so is yours, right?
Yeah. But I think most of the people that choose, like, we're not going to have kids.
Unfortunately, I do think if Matt Walsh went with a civil union argument, like something smarter, he could probably catch out Joe Rogan. I don't think Joe Rogan's that smart.
And the rate of those rates are declining. And the age when people first have kids is also going up and all of that.
Yeah.
And most of the people that are making these choices, I don't think it's because they're involved in charity work.
Dude, if I could just get on Joe Rogan, I could absolutely turn him on trans people. Not that sounded wrong. I could turn him on trans rights is what I meant. I could change him. I can change him. I can fix him. Let me.
I do think that it is more the scenario you outlined.
I'm going to sick him on all the trans people. As if I need to do that.
You know, I have my job. I don't want to give it up.
Yeah.
Because of,
but don't you think that people should have the freedom to live their life in that way? I think human beings vary widely in a huge way. And I think there's some human beings that find a very fulfilling life just reading books and traveling and experiencing different things and seeing art and doing whatever the fuck they want.
Would you go on Joe Rogan's podcast if you had the opportunity? It's Joe Rogan. There's only one correct answer. He is the single most popular man on all of Spotify and Apple Music or whatever. Like, yes. The answer is yes.
I do, and they
Without
don't necessarily
question.
have to have kids to live a fulfilling life that way. And if they choose to do that with someone who they have a loving bond with and who they get married to, I don't think it's a bad thing that they don't want to have kids.
well, I guess we have to. Maybe we're running into
That's
a
fair,
question
Starlight.
of you know. Now you get to the real fundamental
I
question.
think it's a fundamental freedom thing.
God, he sounds like dude, Matt Walsh sounds like such a goddamn wet noodle in this. Like, he just sounds like such a nerd. And he looks like one too. Joe Rogan's like the chill, like weed it out, you know, like just, you know, go with the flow kind of guy. And Matt Walsh is floundering.
On the freedom aspect of it. Because,
Floundering.
Again, I'm not saying that you should be required to have kids.
But you're imposing your sensibilities on what you think is important in life to other people. But everybody has a different idea of what's important in life without hurting anyone. The thing is, like, what I'm saying is these people that
he's going
that are
ham,
married,
dude.
that don't have children, they're not harming anyone.
He's going in for the
They're
kill.
not harming these unborn children that they never have. They're not harming anyone. And
That's
it doesn't-
true. Dude, that's a great fucking point that he brought up. That's genius. If you're not hold on.
They're not harming these unborn children that they never have. They're not harming anyone. And it doesn't affect your relationship.
Sorry, I was, for some reason, my head thought that was a better argument than it was. Forget it.
With your family and your marriage at all.
Yeah, but I'm also not. I'm not imposing myself on them or harming them by answering a question about how I feel about their choices.
Right, but nor are gay people doing that to you.
I think the harm comes from, on a societal level, when we start breaking down these basic
vague posting
central institutions like the institution of the family and of marriage. That's where the harm comes from. And the more that people believe, the more that we build a society where it's believed that marriage is objectively meaningless, right? It's entirely.
You know what it is? I think he doesn't smoke enough weed, and the secondary smoke is like the fumes are like clogging his brain. No, you know, I take it back. That would probably be helping if that were the case.
It's just about making you feel better. The more that we build a society like that, I think that's where the harm comes in. The worse it is, and people are going to reject marriage, and that means more. Fewer kids are being born. Also, more kids are being born in a context where they don't have that stable family structure. So the harm definitely comes.
Kids are being born in a context where they don't have that family structure. I wonder if there's a way we could fix that. I wonder if there's like medical procedures we could use to fix that. Perhaps a thing called contraception. No, that's impossible.
It may not be this immediate, connect the dots thing, but and we can already see that.
That's amazing. Dude, Matt Walsh is such a tool. I love that. That was insanely good. I never listen, I did not expect that from Joe Rogan of all people. That was very good. I want to read some comments. Hold on. I want to see what the Joganites are saying. The Roganites. The media wants people to believe that Joe is politically aligned with people like Matt, yet here we are. I mean, at the end of the day, I do think Joe would side with the fascists. I do believe that. Just wanted to note my appreciation for your non-clickbait title. You simply and honestly describe the videos without inciting drama. Shut the fuck up. I think one reason this convo was executed so well and peacefully is once Joe pressed Matt a little bit on why he feels what he feels with the what's wrong, Matt never got mad or flustered. Dude, he got so fucking flustered. What are you talking about? He remained in a constant state of calmness. That's cope. That's super cope. Never raised his voice. He didn't raise his voice because he was intimidated. If many people get cornered or questioned too much about their positions, they tend to start getting agitated, and the flow of how the convo goes, to shit very fast. Dude, cope harder. This is awesome. Two different people with different perspectives, and they're respectful and not fighting. Is that your take from this? I hate these people. Dude, they have brainstones. You need to get checked for brainstones, please. I beg you. What the fuck is this? Shut up. Just imagine if two politicians could discuss an issue without talking over each other and insulting each other. Bravo, guys. Shut up, dude. Matt lost so bad. And he was like, the funny thing is Joe wasn't even trying, right? I have a lot of respect for how civilized they both were. Awesome conversation amid strict disagreement. I love how Joe Rogan keeps all these liberals and conservatives in check by challenging their views. That's a conversation between two adults without yelling, insulting, or trying to cancel each. It's all of them. It's all of them. It's all of them. It's all of them. Joe is extremely smart. Okay, thank you. At least one normal one. If marriage is vague and subjective, then there really is no limiting principle or defense for rejecting any relationship being pursued as constituting a marriage. That's true. That's true. Get rid of it. Love the curiosity of Joe. He applied the Socratic method. Yes, I mean, yeah. No, he's really trying to understand Matt, actually trying to learn something new. That's the problem. But that's the core of the issue. That's the meat of the issue, is you try to understand Matt Walsh. And once you do, it's like, oh, wait, no, I disagree with this wholeheartedly. Here, I'm going to type that, actually. There you go. There you fucking go. This is why I love Joe. He's so open to talk. Oh, God. How boring would life be if we all agreed? Dude, I agree, man. How fucking boring would it be if we all just agreed that, like, gay people should be allowed to get married and have the same rights as the rest of us? That'd be pretty boring, right? Oh, yeah. We'll tack this onto the video. I watched this. This is great. On Joe Rogan's podcast, Matt Walsh claims that millions of trans people are on puberty blockers until a fact check suggests that the true number is less than 1,000 per year. This is so good.
How many people have had this done?
Depends on what. I don't think we have exact numbers, but if we're talking about the drugs, millions.
You're talking about hormone block.
I feel like as soon as he said that, he regretted it.
Millions of kids have been on hormone blockers? Really?
Even Joe, as stupid as he is, man, I love it.
I'm sure someone's going to fact check me on it, but my guess is that we're into the millions now at this point.
Someone's going to fact check me, man.
Would be my guess.
There they go, fact checking me again.
I can say
I'm just out here saying whatever bullshit.
I read a report recently that
the woke left don't want me doing that.
There were over 1,000 done between 2016 and 2019, and when you compare that to how many were done between 2008 and
so we went from 1 million to 1,000
mastectomies. I read a report recently that there were over 1,000 done between 2016 and 2019. And when you compare that to how many
We
were
went
done
from millions
between,
to
you know,
1,000.
2008 and 2015, it's a massive increase. And over 1,000 girls had gender affirming double mastectomies.
Okay, let's say it was over 1,000 girls in 3 years' time, which, by the way, they're trans men. Okay, they're trans boys, by the way. But let's say it was like 1,000 trans boys. Okay, like I'm not in the fucking room with the doctors and them and their parents. I can't. What do you want? Like, yeah, we'll do a fucking mastectomy on a 13-year-old who gets breast cancer too. What, you want to stop that? Like, I'm not the doctor there. You say girls had vasectomies? No, mastectomies. In
that time frame.
And when you say girls, you're talking about prepubescent,
right? Minors, and that's just up until 20.
Yeah. So Joe said prepubescent, and then Matt said minors. Very different terms there.
19, and then we know that there's been this exponential increase with all this stuff year over year. So it's a lot. It's too many. You know, having this happen.
Because any is too many, you fucking freak. To you,
having to one kid is way too many. It's a lot more than one.
Yeah. Look, if you're an adult and you want to do that and you understand who you are and what you are and this is how you feel you should progress, you're an adult. This is a free country. You should be able to do whatever you want. But when you're talking about doing that to children, the fact that so many people are on board and so
here's the problem. Here's one of the problems is Joe Rogan's too stupid to distinguish between puberty blockers and mastectomies. And those two are constantly and purposefully conflated by people like Matt Walsh. They have to be, because you cannot die on the hill that puberty blockers are dangerous. You can't. It's impossible because they're not dangerous. We've been using them for 40 years for precocious puberty. There are very, very, very few side effects, and the ones that are there are well worth the benefits. The only ones we know of so far are slightly reduced bone density and slightly reduced final growth height, and that's it. And you can, the growth height, you can take that hit, and then the density, the bone density, you can just supplement that, right? So really, it's just cope. Like they're grasping at straws, trying to figure out what they can tie into this to make it sound worse than it is. And it just, when you dig into it, even just the tiniest little bit, just a little poke, it just falls apart.
So many people are angry. If you have, people are going to be angry at us that we're having these conversations.
Yeah, they will be. And I also, I actually think that this shouldn't be happening to.
It's a very small number, if that's right.
It says over the last 5 years, there were at least 4,780 adolescents who started puberty blockers.
Less than 1,000 per year. And that's puberty blockers, not breast reduction, not mastectomies.
And at a prior gender dysphoria diagnosis.
This says it's kind of undercounted, but that
would be a big undercounting.
Less than 1,000 people a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't you just say millions, Matt? There's a little bit of an undercount there.
Yeah, I mean, I would guess, hundreds of thousands at this, but I could.
Would you? I love that. My personal guess would be hundreds of thousands. I'm just like, who's to say, really? Like we can all say numbers here. We all have our favorite numbers. I like the number 100,000. So some other people like the number 1,000,000. It varies. It goes from here and there, but also trans people bad, right?
Could be wrong.
We all agree on that.
1 million sounds great.
Yeah, I could be wrong.
Yeah.
The Media Matters will have fun with that clip.
Yeah.
Matt Walsh claims it was.
Oh man. This clip in the gay marriage vid should be enough to expose Matt as a complete fool. Yeah, but you saw all of the fucking YouTube comments on the Joe Rogan video, the Joe Rogan Experience, are just cooming over how based and centrist it is.
Oh, we got to hear things from both sides. Oh, Joe Rogan pushed back against the guy he's supposed to be on a team with. Oh, the Matt Walsh was so calm and collected.
I fucking hate people who think that their shit don't stink. You know what I mean? They're sitting there like the whom emote, looking at both sides. And meanwhile, one side is we should definitely murder all of in Minecraft, of course, is what I'm talking about. We should definitely kill with diamond swords in Minecraft all the gay people is what they're saying, right? All the gay and trans people and their children. And the other side is just can we actually not be killed by diamond swords and maybe like not be thrown into lava pits in Minecraft, that'd be good. And then like they're just sitting there like, well, you know, I hear you both. Maybe we just talk this out. It's like, no, just throw Matt Walsh into the lava pit in Minecraft. I think that'd be fine. I think that's fine. Let's just do that. And we'll all just continue playing on our Minecraft server the way that we want, with the skins that we want, with the people that we want to be in relationships with in Minecraft. We'll all put beds together, regardless of our genders, and just have a good time, right? Yeah. Okay. So, unfortunately, centrists do be centristing. It's just the way of the world. Anyway, if you are watching this on YouTube, thank you so much again for watching. Please hit the subscribe button if you have not already. Press the like button and hit the notification button if you want to see more. I'm ending the video now. So I don't know where I was going with that. And leave a comment with your thoughts. Thank you so much again for watching, and I will see you next time.